The poor college girl fell for the rich young man who'd been sponsoring her, but he already had a well-matched childhood sweetheart, so she buried her feelings deep inside. Then fate took a cruel turn. The man had a terrible car accident. He could no longer walk, and his first love left him on the spot. Seeing him in such pain broke the girl's heart. She couldn't bear to watch him suffer, so she rushed forward, grabbed the knife from his hand, and swore through tears she'd stay by his side until he could stand again. From that day on, she barely slept or ate, studying medicine day and night, trying everything to help him recover. 3 years later, under her careful care, his legs finally healed, a miracle. To celebrate, his friends threw him a party. The girl brought a gift, ready to give it to him herself. But just as she stepped forward, she overheard his mates joking. She's been by your side for 3 years. Isn't it time to make it official? The man just said coldly, I've always seen her as a sister. Those words hit her like a bucket of cold water. 3 years of love and hope, all for nothing. She thought her devotion would move him, but now she realized it had all been wishful thinking. As she froze in place, his friends noticed her. She forced a smile and handed him the gift. Right then, his long-lost first love appeared. She'd brought a gift too, but his friends mocked her openly. Embarrassed and angry, she threw it down and turned to leave. The man grabbed her hand, gently made her sit beside him, his eyes full of nothing but her. He didn't even glance at the girl. Everyone thought he'd gone too far. They started teasing the ex, daring her to ask a random guy for his number. When a sleazy man actually harassed her, the man jumped up in rage and knocked him to the floor. The girl, worried about his still healing legs, ran to stop him, but he shoved her aside. She fell hard, hitting her head on the bar counter. He didn't even look her way. He just carried his ex out the door. Watching his back disappear, tears streamed down her face. She remembered the night he tried to beat himself in despair. She'd thrown herself in front of him, sobbing, your legs matter. I'll stop you, even if it hurts. One day, I'll make sure you walk again. But now, he could walk again, and no longer needed her. Soon after, his mother called. She bluntly said, the girl wasn't good enough for her son, and that 3 years of care was repayment enough for his past help with tuition. The girl understood, and simply replied, I'll leave. You won't see me again. She went to the hospital to treat her wound. Then, walking out, saw the man and his ex together in a car. He smiled as he forgave the woman who'd left him, and said in front of her, she's just like a sister to me. Hearing that, the girl's heart broke completely. She turned away in silence. She soon applied for a visa, planning to leave in 2 weeks. At home, she erased every trace of herself, tore up their only photo. The man knew nothing. He still enjoyed her quiet care. One day, his stomach condition flared up. He called her to bring medicine, but when she arrived, his ex was already there with lunch. The girl softly reminded her he couldn't eat spicy food. To impress his ex, he forced himself to eat anyway. A few bites in, he doubled over in pain, but smiled weakly and said he was fine. The girl just left the medicine on the desk and quietly walked out. Once they'd gone, he snatched up the pills and swallowed them. The ex sneered at the girl before leaving. Know your place. That night, he collapsed on the sofa in pain. The girl thought he'd skipped the pills, but he said he'd had to get his stomach pumped. Her heart twisted. He'd rather suffer than upset his ex. Still, she couldn't help but care. She brought him